Hello and welcome to Scrap Mechanic, and well, it's been a little while since water was added, but it's been slightly less time since water was added to creative, although it has still been quite a while, I'll be honest. But I have finally got round to doing something which I wanted to do initially, which is creating a tile that is just deep water, which is what this is here. It is max depth water, but well, that's not really what this is about. This is not about the water's just kind of water. The interesting thing is that over there, a big wooden boat. Well, a big wooden hull of a boat with some decking on it and nothing else. But let's go have a look at it. So let me just take the lift, and we'll out my totally magical jetty that has no reason to float. Zoom over here. Bonk. I totally didn't need that I can fly, but here we have the boat hull and some deck, and it's very big, and we can go all the way to the front here. And well, if you know what this is supposed to be, if you have read the title basically, then you will know that the front is not finished, because the Flying Dutchman has an awful lot of weird, complicated jaws at the front. It has like jaws at the front. If you haven't seen the Flying Dutchman from Pirates of the Caribbean, then go watch it. I mean, if you haven't seen Pirates of the Caribbean, go watch it, but like, the Flying Dutchman is a very big, scary boat. Now, of course, this is scrap mechanics, so it floats using large amounts of bubble plastic, and there is some concrete so that it doesn't fall over. But, well, as you can tell, there is currently nothing to propel it, and currently there's the very basics of a steering mechanism down here, which is simply controls the rudder. I just wanted to put something in to control the rudder, because I shoved some thrusters on it a little while ago to test to see if it actually moved. It does. Very slowly. It is very heavy. It has like in the region of 40,000 blocks of scrap wood, and that, while scrap wood on its own isn't a massively heavy block, when you have 40,000 of them, that makes it quite cumbersome to drive. But of course there's nothing else on here at all. There is no detailing, there's no anything else really. The only moving part is the rudder. It needs an awful lot more work on it, and that's why this is part one, of course. Part one. I keep falling off, it's going to stand still. So of course we have various decks and stuff, but how I built this was using the production schematics from the actual film. Well, it's not the actual production schematics because I can't find them. I can simply find a relatively low quality image of it, which isn't great, but I'm using the best that I have. There's just nothing. There's nothing great to use. So that's why it's all bumpy like this, because when it's Dutchman and I'm using, effectively I've like done the opposite of anti-aliasing. I guess that would be aliasing, to follow the curves and bumpy bits of what it should look like and turn it into blocks. Now of course the real one has like 30-40 cannons on it. It has actual holes in the sides that the cannons go out of. It has all that stuff. It has steering. It has masts. That's an important thing that I haven't got on it yet. It has the whole stuff at the front. Yeah, it's taken me over 12 hours to get to this point. So if anyone has any information on actual detailed information on how I should be building more parts of it that isn't a low quality production schematic, I will also have to probably watch many parts of the film again and again and again to try and work out how to put things. Also, apparently the only way down to the lower floors is this hole. at some point I will put more on it, but like, we have this one down here, where's the hole? There's the hole. And we have this one down here, which is even more cramped, and then we have some down here, which is just underwater. It is as it should be. That should be underwater. Well, I guess technically there should be water inside it, but well, it's ground mechanic physics. But the water line is supposed to be on this block here, so it is about right. At the back it's a bit lower, but for some reason the back is so much heavier than the front. I guess that's because it is like twice as tall, although it's not as wide. Yeah, I might need to do a lot more balancing once I've made more stuff. Now, of course, Scram Mechanic doesn't have things like cannons and sails, so those are going to have to be made out of blocks, and probably some spud guns for the cannons, because spud cannons. And yes, I will have the stupid triple chaser guns that are on the front of it, because why not? Why would you not want those actually stupid cannons? Now, of course, I can't do a lot of detailing on like this bit. There is supposed to be like giant octopus thing on here, and well, I can't exactly do that with blocks. And well, if I were to build out something else, it would ruin the texture of scrap wood, because the whole point is that it's built out of scrap wood, because scrap wood looks like Dutchman. The Dutchman is mostly made of driftwood and bits of sailors, but I just keep finding more blocks that shouldn't be there. This has been painstakingly handmade. I sort of managed to mirror half the hull and put it on the other side, but like, I still had to do a lot of work for that. This is not a easy task building it. It's like so there's this fishing boat over here, and I was just messing around with it because I found this fishing boat in the workshop. I can't remember who made it. Let me just check. So the original fishing boat was made by Eddie227. It had wheels on it. It didn't float very well, and well, I have just modified it so that it actually floats. If I actually just detach it, I had it welded to save me some frames, and it's got a bunch of thrusters in the back. I had to modify that to have the thrusters, and this should be pretty much completely destructible, but at least it actually floats. I mean, we could go and take this out. You see, the thing is, I have lights. I have this random thing here I can open, which goes to like the engine bay for some reason, and then I have forwards. It doesn't have a backwards, but it has steering. So to go backwards, we do this for a while. In fact, it's going to take so long I can't be bothered. But the important thing about this is if I just spawn it down at the deepest one and do that, then it's going to float up to the surface. Oh, it's not going to do it. Hang on, I have to put it deeper. But also down here, I have the big frame I was using to build it, because I was using this underwater, because underwater I don't have to worry about gravity. Although you can't crouch underwater, and well, now I have the floor or the decks to work with, so I don't really need to not worry about gravity. I can deal with gravity. Turn the lights on, because lights for no reason. But this should float up to the surface. As you can see, it's quite a way up to the surface. Like the Dutchman isn't exactly small, but down at the bottom of the ocean, it's tiny. Like, you see all this seaweed, and you don't realise that this seaweed is like as tall as you. Like, oh look, there's some nice seaweed at the bottom of the ocean. Yes, well, we can just keep getting closer to it, and the seaweed is actually taller than me, which from the surface you don't realise. Now, this boat doesn't quite float up quite how it used to, because I have actually made it float sensibly, although it still does it a bit. So if we just get up to the surface here, we shall see it rise up out of the ocean in a second, like this. It's blues. It was significantly more nose first. I did actually correct it, but that just made me think, this reminds me of the Flying Dutchman. I know, why don't I build that? Great plan, me. Let's just build the Flying Dutchman. Yeah, 12 hours later, and I've got that ugly piece of wood. May have been a slightly bigger undertaking than I thought. But yes, this is steering. This thing is awful, but the important thing is it's destructible, of course. Well, it's mostly destructible. Like, the seats technically aren't destructible, and the lights aren't. And I guess the buttons and switches. It has some thrusters in here. There is some canisters next to them, so if you shoot the canisters, you can blow up the engines. It's not that slow. It just doesn't turn very well. But let me just spin it around. Well, not actually spin. It's kind of, it's like understeer. It's a boat that someone has to understeer. But it's rear wheel steering, yet it somehow manages to understeer. Come on, come on, come on. Just saw we totally made it in an amazing way. Right, let's just leave that there in the middle of the bay. No one minds, right? But let's just hop back over here. Also have this little thing I made, which is kind of stupid, like the thrusters go at angles. It's just a little nimble catamaran boat with some guns, of course. Couldn't not put guns on something. It has 2 seats and a bunch of random junk on it. It's just my nice agile boat that's not that slow, and it can flip sometimes. I'm trying to flip it now, it's not working. There we go. We can do some epic stunts like that. Yes, although I do have the levitation mod, so like I don't actually really need to. It's probably faster to fly. Actually, I'm not sure. I'll have to test that at some point. Is it faster to fly? This also has no reverse, because why bother putting reverse on things? Landed it. Totally intended. No. Okay. Yes, it doesn't. It can get stuck on a wall due to its rear wheel steering. There we go. Yes, it doesn't have a reverse. Why put a reverse on boats? I mean, I guess the Flying Dutchman at least probably doesn't have a reverse. Because, well, how would you do that without like turning all your sails the other way around? Although, this does have a makeshift reverse of the spud guns because it's so light. You can just use the spud guns to reverse, which is how I park it in here. I just use the guns, because that seems like a great way. Oh, there's nothing destructible around. Now I'm trying to do a camera, I can't park it. There we go. And now we can hop back over to Dutchman. So I'm probably going to have to start building this over on land somewhere, and well, there isn't any land in this world, so that it means I'll have to go into a different world, or I'll have to build a dry dock. To be honest, I'll probably just build a dry dock over there somewhere. Not quite sure how, but I'll find a way. But yes, this is my current massive Scrap Mechanic project. I mean, I don't normally do this bigger project in Scrap Mechanic, although I didn't entirely realise it was going to be this big when I started it. But that is going to be it for this video, so thank you for watching, don't get distracted, go subscribe now, and until next time, goodbye. Thank you.